Hey guys, this is Maryland Girl. I said that I might do a third part to these videos that I've been doing concerning Derrick Jaxn and his wife, and everyone finding out that, he's been cheating on his wife all this time. I wasn't sure if I was going to do this video because I wasn't sure if it was appropriate, but I do feel like I want to address this topic of the way women dress, the way Christian women, the way we dress, and whether or not that has any effect on men, whether it has any effect on our relationships. And I want to discuss if how we dress, if that can put us in a situation where, it can have a negative impact on our marriage. I wanted to address that. And I wanted to address it in the first video that I did, where I was telling Derrick Jaxn, please leave your husband. I wanted to address that, but I really couldn't find a good point in the video to say it. And the reason is because men cheat because men cheat. They cheat because of their own character, because of their own greed, because they don't value monogamy. The ones who cheat, this is why they cheat. They see a pretty woman, they want that woman. And so it's like I wanted to address this, but I didn't want to make it seem like Derrick Jaxn cheated on his wife because his wife wasn't pretty enough or because of the way she dressed. I think Derrick Jaxn is a very pretty woman. I've seen, pictures, videos, images of her dressed down and dressed up. She looks very pretty when she's dressed up, and she has a very pretty face in general. So Derrick Jaxn has a beautiful wife, okay? But he does have a wife that dresses conservatively, and I don't know if she's always dressed that way or if this is a more recent thing, but I want to address this, but I feel like I need to say sort of upfront, the reason I didn't talk about this earlier is because I don't want to blame her and the way she looks for the reason for her husband cheating, because as it's been discussed, he's been cheating on her the whole time, regardless of how she dresses up, she dresses down. He's been cheating on her the whole time while they were dating, off and on. And she talks about how she was in a rotation of women, and the reality is, if a man likes a certain look in a woman, he could just date a woman who looks like that, who dresses like that. He could marry a woman who looks like that, and then just be with that one woman. But the fact that he cheated on her with multiple women, it's not like, okay, he had this woman at home and she's frumpy, and so he's going outside the marriage and he's going to find one person who is meeting those needs that he has visually, right? But he's cheating with multiple women. So the issue is not how is his wife dressed, how is she doing her hair, does she wear a hat that could be mistaken for being a sleep bonnet. The issue is the man is greedy. That's the issue. And that's the issue with men who cheat. So I just want to talk about some other women besides Derrick Jaxn. I'm going to mention the names of some women. Halle Berry, beautiful actress. Beyonce, beautiful pop star and actress. Elizabeth Hurley, beautiful model and sometimes actress. Jennifer Aniston, beautiful actress. Demi Moore, beautiful actress. Ava Longoria, beautiful actress. Sandra Bullock, beautiful actress. Shania Twain, beautiful pop star. Cameron Diaz, beautiful model turned actress. Christy Brinkley, beautiful model, sometimes actress. What do these women have in common? What do they have in common? They're beautiful women. They have a team of people that do their hair, their makeup. They professionally choose their outfits. These women are on camera, and there are cinematographers that film them at the right angle, and present these women to the world. And women all over the world are like, wow, I want to look like this. How does this person dress? How do they do their hair? I wish I could look like this. And all of these women were cheated on by their husbands, by their boyfriends at the time. Every last one of these beautiful women were cheated on. So men cheat because they cheat. It is a character issue with them. And so this idea that if we are just pretty enough, if we just, prance around the house all the time in cute clothes, and we, vacuum wearing lipstick and high heels and lingerie, that's going to keep a man, that's not the case. Beautiful women have been cheated on because of the character of the man. The onus is on each party in a marriage, each party in, if you're dating, each party in the relationship to not cheat. And I'm not trying to say break up your marriage over something frivolous, but if someone is so uncomfortable with the way their spouse looks, maybe, they were dating them, or early in their marriage life, they looked a certain way, they dressed a certain way, and then over time, they let themselves go, or they get comfortable and they stop dressing up, they stop looking nice. The onus is on you to have a heart-to-heart conversation with your spouse, with your significant other, and say, you used to dress up for me. You used to look nice. You used to, you used to look cute. And I don't know. That's a hard conversation to have, because I know as women, we are sensitive about our looks. I know that. But if the alternative is to ruin your marriage, to violate your marriage vows, that is what you have to do. Being married means, and being in a relationship, honestly, means sometimes you have to have confrontation. Sometimes you have to have hard conversations and express yourself and what you need and what you want in a relationship. And if you can't do that, if your way of dealing with you not getting what you want in a relationship is to cheat, then I almost feel like it would be better for you to just leave that person. But that's not better. What's better is for you to recognize that relationships are hard and they require communication, and for you to say, this is what I want. And Derrick Jaxn specifically has no excuse, because he was giving relationship advice to other people, and he was reading books written by marriage counselors, written by relationship therapists, written by relationship experts. And he had this information in his head. He knew all this stuff. And he had no problem telling everyone else this information. He needed to sit down, and if this was really his issue, if this was really his issue, he should have sat down and he should have told his wife. He should have told her. But that really wasn't the issue, because he was cheating the whole time, because he's a cheater. Derrick Jaxn and Danae Jackson's issue, even though, yes, we can all see that she dresses conservatively, and compared to her husband who dresses kind of flashy, we can all see that this is a problem, like this is a vulnerability in their marriage. But before we even get to that, the main vulnerability in their relationship is Derrick Jaxn's living a double life. Him being a serial cheater. Like, that's just a part of his character. So that's why I had a really hard time with, should I address this in my earlier video, because like I said, Derrick Jaxn could be Beyonce, she could be Halle Berry, she'll still be just one woman in a rotation of women, because that is the nature of the man that she's with. She is with the kind of man who, he's gonna do an apology video and tell the world, I've changed, I've become, I'm saved now. I looked at this man's Twitter feed, and he's got these posts where he's like, it's been a year since I've been a Christian, and he talks about how he's changed. And based on what we know, this man was still cheating and still living a double life even after he was making these tweets about, I'm changed and I'm a Christian now. So that's just the man she has. So that is one piece of it. Men cheat because men cheat. And that's just the reality. So I don't want women walking around with this idea, like, we have to walk around on, I don't want to say eggshells, but we have to be afraid that when we're in a relationship, if we relax, if we get comfortable, that our man is going to cheat on us. Like, you should be able to be in a relationship with someone and show your real face. You should be able to be in a relationship with a man who sees you without makeup on, and he likes that face. He likes what he sees. If you should be able to have your hair look just okay, to have your clothes look just okay, and not have to worry about your man cheating on you. Because when you're in a real relationship with someone, or when you're married to someone, it's not the same as dating. It's not the same as going on dates with someone. Now I'm just speaking from a Christian point of view, because, for us, we're not supposed to be living with people that we're not married to. We're not supposed to be, sleeping with people we're not married to. That comes after the marriage. So for us, it's like, these guys, if we're, living by, what the Bible teaches, they're seeing us at our best. Whenever you see me, I am dressed for a date. I'm dressed for hanging out with this guy, right? I'm dressed because in a way where I'm trying to impress you. I want you to like me. I want you to think I'm pretty. And so I'm going to show up a certain way. But that's different than being married to a woman, living with a woman. The difference is, now you get to see the behind the scenes, okay? This is what women look like when we get up in the morning. There's morning breath. You got crust and junk in your eye. Your hair is not looking cute. You have to wash your face. You have to brush your teeth. You're seeing now all of the work that goes into making me look the way I look when I show up on a date with you. You're seeing, the silk bonnet or the silk sleep scarf that I wear at night. Now you're not the guy that I'm dating, the guy that I'm trying to impress. Now you're family. There's a way that your family there's a look that your family sees, right? And there's the look that the guy you're dating sees. When you become my husband, you are my family now. And you're going to see all of that behind the scenes stuff that I wouldn't necessarily have wanted you as my boyfriend to see. And guys have to go into marriage knowing that. That's just common sense. That's just reality. And I think women are more prepared for the reality of that aspect of marriage than maybe men are. Women are not going to dress like they're going on dates with you and they're trying to impress you all the time. You're family now. You're going to see me look basic now. But you don't want to completely let yourself go. There's a balance. There's a balance there. the guys are going to see us as we really are, the behind the scenes, but we can't stay looking basic all the time. Like, you can't just completely, you don't want to do like a bait and switch. They need to see the reality of life with a real woman. The reality is, I'm wearing pajamas and I need to brush my teeth and I need to, make myself look cute. But I am also going to be walking around in pajamas. I am also going to be walking around with my hair not looking perfect all the time. Like, they need to have a realistic understanding that you're going to see women in a range of looks. And I think that there is a danger if you stay in that basic, very comfortable look a lot. I think like there's a healthy place where it's like, look, dude, be a man. Understand what marriage is. Understand that women are not going to look like they're on a runway 24/7, okay? But there's also, like, you do need to dress up for your man. You don't want to completely stop doing what you were doing when you were dating. Like, you do want to look cute for him. You do, So, looking cute all the time is not going to keep your man from cheating on you. Your man's character is what's going to keep him from cheating on you. But there's a balance. We should try to look nice for our man. We should. Because you hear them say, men are visual creatures, and looks do matter to them. So, yeah, it does matter. It does matter how we dress. And so I want to talk about, from a Christian perspective, how this affects us. How this affects Derrick Jaxn, how this affects Christian women. Because if you are someone who, you're taking your faith seriously, you're reading the Bible, and you're trying to live what the Bible teaches. The Bible does teach that women are supposed to dress modestly. That our beauty is not supposed to come from, how flashy we dress, the jewelry we wear, how we do our hair. It doesn't mean that we can't wear that stuff. It doesn't mean that we can't look nice. But that, yes, we really should be focusing on internal beauty, the beauty that comes from having godly character. But we need to acknowledge that there is what God looks at, what God considers beautiful, and there is what men consider beautiful. And as a Christian woman, we have to consider both pieces of that if we want to be attractive to men. Now, there may be some women who are like, I don't care if men find me attractive. I am called by God to be single my entire life, and I'm going to serve on the mission field. And I do not care if men think I'm attractive. I have no plans of dating. I have no plans of getting married. That does not concern me. So it doesn't matter if you dress like a nun, if men don't find you attractive in any way. Hey, great. That's great for you. But the vast majority of Christian women are not in that situation. Most of us are not saying, I'm going to be single, unmarried, celibate my entire life, and that's what I want, and that's what God has specifically called me to, so I don't care if men find me attractive. Most of us want, and now look, if this doesn't apply to you, then it doesn't apply to you. What I'm saying right now is for the people that this applies to, okay? Most of us want to be in a relationship, to be married, to have children, to have a home, to have a family. And we are attracted to men. We want to be in a relationship with a man that we are attracted to. And we want men, when they look at us, to think we are pretty, to think we are beautiful. So for women who fall into that category, one, we first we belong to God, right? We belong to God, and we're supposed to be following the teachings of the Bible. So yes, we need to focus on having good character so that we're pretty on the inside. God can, God was saying, God looks at the heart. While men look at the outside, God looks at the heart. And that's really what this is about. That God looks at the inside, but man looks at the outside. So if you want to be considered attractive to a man while you're dating him, if you want to be considered attractive to a man while you're married to him, then we have to acknowledge, even the Bible says man looks at the outside. So we do need to pay attention to how we dress. It does matter. It does. Looks matter. And they matter more to men than they do to women. Men are a lot more, they care a lot more about looks than women do. I mean, we care about looks. We want to be in a relationship with a guy. We want to be married to a man that we're attracted to, obviously. But let me just make this observation that men rank women. I think that's something that you really should stop doing, in middle school or high school. Like, that's really not something that you should do when you are an adult. That's not really mature, and it really is disrespectful and hurtful to people to do that. But they do it. Men sit around regardless of what they look like. I mean, regardless of what these dudes look like, they take it upon themselves to rank other women and consider other women, as having more or less value in the dating world based on how they're ranking their beauty on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Regardless of how these dudes would rank, it's like they're not cognizant of the fact that people could rate them too on a scale of 1 to 10. They're not aware. They don't seem to care, or they just don't even think about it. Like, I mean, are you a male model? Then why are you talking about the way other people look? I mean, can we be honest? Most people are average looking. Most of us are average looking. Most of us are average. I mean, there's some people that they could be supermodels, they could be actors, actresses, but those are like the most exceptionally beautiful people in our society. Most of us are average looking. So for average looking dudes, or maybe below average looking dudes, I don't know. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. For average looking dudes to sit around and criticize how women look and rank them, it's ridiculous, but that's what they do. And I don't know if you've noticed this. You probably have. I'm sure we've all noticed it. Men are more likely, I won't even say more likely, they are almost without exception always in a relationship with a woman who is either equal in looks to them or better looking. It is so rare. It hardly ever happens. I don't know if I can even come up with an example. It is so rare for a man to be in a relationship with a woman who is not as good looking as him. People will say to that guy, how did you end up with that woman? How did you get a girl like that? They know that their wives are better looking than them. They know that their girlfriends are better looking than them. But when do you ever hear someone say to a woman, how did you get that guy? How did you get that male model? How did you get that man who is like, I mean, he looks like a male model and you're an average girl. How did this happen? That hardly ever happens. women are not as hard on men when it comes to their look. We are more forgiving of men and their extra weight and their gray hair and, they're balding. And we are more forgiving of their looks because we start to balance things out. We're like, well, okay, let's look at the full package here. He has a great personality. He's funny. This man would make a good provider for his wife, for his children. We start to look at other things to form like a full picture of what we would get if we were with this guy. Okay? He's got great character. We're going to be happy being with this guy. So we're not going to place as much value on how he looks. I mean, we have to be attracted to him. Like, most of us are not going to be with someone where there's just no attraction, but we will use other aspects of this man's personality or other things that he brings to the table to balance out the fact that he, in worldly standards, he is maybe not as good looking as us. Or we'll do that. Do guys do that? Almost absolutely not. Guys can look basic, below basic, but they still want someone who looks good. And we have to acknowledge that is what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with men. They care about looks. The idea is to find a man, not one who is like shallow. You don't just say, well, men are shallow and I'm just going to play into that. I'm just going to, wear really tight shirts and have my boobs hanging out, and I'm just going to wear really short skirts. I'm not saying that. You don't play into the shallowness, but you understand the game that you are playing. You understand how it works. And you find a balance. You say, I'm going to please God with the way I dress. And I'm going to acknowledge that I do want men to find me attractive. So what does that look like? You have to find a way to to dress modestly, to not have all your boobs hanging out, to not have everything showing, right? But to also come across as feminine, fun, and I think the key piece that I want to speak to about how Christian women should dress, because I think this is something that we can struggle with. I know I struggle with it, is looking modern. That is important. And I'm going to tell you, me personally, I like clothing from different time periods. Like, I'm drawn to that. I think that's really, I think clothing from different time periods is cute. And I can see in the Christian community that I'm not the only woman like this. And I can see in these fashions, in these websites that are marketed to Christian women, where their focus is on modesty and femininity and dressing in a way that pleases God. A problem that I see with these clothes is that they're not modern. They're feminine, yes. They're modest, yes. But they lean towards being vintage. They lean towards being very outdated. And that's a problem, because looking like you belong in this time period matters. Looking like you don't want to walk around with clothing that makes you look like you belong in a different time period, like older. Like, if everyone around you is dressed like it's 2021, you don't want to be that person that's dressed like it's the 1930s or the 1950s. And I say this to myself, and I say this to other women. And the reason I'm speaking to this is because when I was looking at Derrick Jaxn's Instagram post, and I've seen people take, a screen capture of her Instagram and show her wearing this blue dress And she's wearing these heels, and she's dressed up. Like, it's not that she's not making an effort to look cute. She is making an effort. Nobody who's wearing a dress like that and wearing heels, you can say they're not making an effort. Okay, not making an effort is wearing a t-shirt and sweatpants. That's not making an effort. But when I saw that picture, I was like, oh my gosh, I have a dress that looks just like that. The only difference is the dress that I have is like red or maroon, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a dress that looks just like that, but I stopped wearing it. Why did I stop wearing it? Because even though I was trying to look cute, I was trying to navigate that space of, I want to look feminine, I want to look modest, but I also want to look cute. It is so hard to also look modern. And like, to you might think, oh, I look cute, but other people are processing that look as matronly. You know, when you look like, it's just too conservative. And it's such a hard space to navigate, especially, you know, living in the country that we live in, the culture that we live in. The clothing is not designed for us. It's not designed to help us live out the teachings of the Bible while also looking cute. So you have to like really pick through all of this stuff and see if you can put together an outfit that looks cute and modest, right? But part of, I'm here to say specifically to Christian women, part of looking cute and part of avoiding this like frumpy matronly look that for women who are, I would say, in their 40s or under, but especially like 30s and 20s, part of avoiding this look that ages us prematurely is wearing clothing that is modern, that is current. And I know many of us may like those retro styles, but we have to realize that there are some people who can get away with wearing vintage clothing and it looks cute on them, it looks chic, they can get away with that. But there's other people that when you wear vintage clothing, you look like somebody's grandmother. And it's a shame, but it is what it is. Vintage clothing does not look cute on everybody. And I think I'm one of those people, and I think Derrick Jaxn is possibly one of those people. And this is another reason why I kind of didn't want to do this video. I'm not saying any of this to pile criticism on Derrick Jaxn or on any woman. That's not the spirit that I'm coming from. I'm not here to bully or shame. I'm not doing that. I just know the Christian woman struggle of trying to look pretty in the modern world without showing off everything. And that's what I'm speaking to. So I hope that people can hear that and not think that I am joining a chorus of people who are here to bash Derrick Jaxn, like, or to say, you know, oh, her husband cheated on her because of how he looked. No. And that's why I addressed that at the beginning. He cheated because he's a cheater. And she could walk around, like I said, dressed up like Beyonce, and he'll find somebody else. So I just want to say that I'm not here to be mean-spirited or to tear down anyone's self-esteem. You know, far be it for me to do that. I told you, I have basically that same blue dress that she has is in my wardrobe. It might not be anymore. I might I said I don't wear it anymore. I don't even remember if I got rid of it completely or if it's at the bottom of one of my drawers or in my closet somewhere packed away. But like I said, I am in no position to bash anyone for how they dress, because I have been in that exact same situation. And because I feel like that line is so difficult to walk, I still fall on the wrong side of that line. I still have people tell me, oh, you're dressed like, you need to dress more, you need to dress less conservatively. You need to give men something more to look at. You need to, why do you dress like that? Like, I still get that sometimes. Right? And then there's other times where people are like, oh, you look really cute. I like your outfit. Oh, you look nice. Oh, you look so sharp. So there's days when I'm doing it. And I get, men will compliment. I get unsolicited compliments from men. Like, there's days when I'm like, okay, I look cute today. I look, and not just cute to me, but other people think I look cute. And then there's days when I get the you're too conservative criticism. So I am saying this because I know that struggle. But what I do know is that it matters. What I think is dangerous is for you to dig your heels in and say, looks don't matter. It doesn't matter how I dress. My job is to live for the Lord and to preach the gospel. That is what I am. That's where I draw the line and say, no, we need to strike a balance here. You don't want to be on one side. You don't want the pendulum to swing to one side where you're like, looks. All I care about is looks. And you're just like hyper aware of your looks, and you don't want to go outside unless you have on, fake eyelashes. You spent, an hour doing your makeup, contouring your face. You don't want to be fake. You don't want to spend so much time on your looks, and that's all you care about. And your clothes are really tight. Everybody can see everything. Everybody can see every nook and cranny that you have. And yeah, you're getting attention from men because they're visual creatures, and you're showing them everything they want to see. That's one side of the pendulum. And Christian women are like, no, we don't want to be that. But you don't want to swing to the exact opposite side, where you're dressed like it's the 1950s and men are just not attracted to you, or you're dressed really frumpy or sloppy, or like wearing sweatpants and t-shirts all the time. You don't want to go to that side. You don't want to be like, look, God knows my heart. God loves me. I am here for my Savior, and that's it. And I'm like, well, but did you have that attitude when you were dating? Did you have that attitude when you were looking for a man? Did you have that attitude when you were single? So we are flesh and spirit. And we have to acknowledge that. And we can't just focus on the spirit and pretend that the externals don't matter. Because we know if a guy walks by, dressed a certain way, he has a certain facial structure, whatever it is, his hair is a certain way, whatever, we'll be like, oh, that's a good looking man. Right? What the externals matter. We recognize when we see good looking men. We recognize when we see a man who's dressed well. We recognize that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not sinful. It's not sinful for men to be good looking, for us to acknowledge that our eyes work and that we see a good looking man. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with being pretty. There's nothing wrong with having inner beauty and outer beauty. And I think for Christian women, the outer beauty, as much as possible, needs to continue to be updated with, I don't want to say fashion trends, because fashion trends change like from season to season, from year to year, and some of those trends are just ugly. I mean, at least in my eye, I think a lot of fashion trends are ugly. I'm not going to say that you need to, have your face in Vogue magazine and you need to be trying to dress, the way all of these models and actresses are dressed all the time, and you need to care about that. I'm not saying that. I'm sounding like a broken record, but this is what I'm saying. Find a healthy balance. Yes, you want your character, you want God to be pleased with your character, but externally, yes, you do want to be attractive to the opposite sex. Yes, you do want to be attractive to the man that you're dating. And yes, you want to continue to be attractive to the man that you're married to. Yeah, so that's important. It's not something that I think that we should neglect or put on the back burner because we're Christian women and we care about our character. Looks do matter. Unless you want to be a nun, looks matter. And so we need to act like they matter, and not feel stressed about it, but put in effort, because other women are putting in effort. Other women are doing some of those other things, spending all of that time on their looks, and you don't want this huge contrast between, I mean, on the one hand, yes, we are called to be a peculiar people, and yes, we are called to be set apart, but I would say this, forget the way other women look, okay? If you're married, I would say this, how does your man look? You want to be dressed, you want to look on the same level as your man, or better than your man. It will become a problem if you are not dressed on the same level as him, or if you don't look as good looking as him. Because like I said, I know that somewhere out there is a man who was with a woman that's maybe not as attractive as him. I know that exists. I'm not going to say that doesn't exist, but we know what the pattern is. So I would say pay attention to that pattern and make sure that you look better than your man, or at least on par with him. And so that's, when I look back at that, when I think back to that original video that Derrick Jaxn did with his wife, and when I look at Derrick Jaxn's Instagram and I see how she dresses, I'm like, you know what? This is going to continue to be a problem. This is going to continue to be a problem because, like I said, if you look at the way he is dressed like a man who's on the hunt. And she is dressed like very comfortably. And that is a man, you can tell he is concerned about image. He's concerned about looks. He is going to keep cheating on her. If Derrick Jaxn hears this video, I don't know if she ever will, but if Derrick Jaxn hears this video, I'm gonna say that man's gonna keep cheating on her, whether she takes my advice or not. So that's the piece. Even if she doesn't take even if she does take my advice, even if she's like, okay, let me dress modern, let me dress, she could do all that stuff. She still has a cheating man. So the man is the problem. But what if she gets a new man? What if you get a new man? You're in a new relationship. You've moved on from Derrick Jaxn. You're with somebody else. This is my advice to you and to me. This is my advice to me. I was speaking to myself. This is my advice to other Christian women. Make sure that you look better than your man, or on the same, like you are dressed on the same level as him. That's what I would say. If you are constantly or consistently dressed or presenting yourself not as attractively as he is, that is a vulnerability in your relationship. That's a vulnerability in your marriage. Because when he goes places with you, people are going to be looking at him and they're going to be looking at you. It's not good. It's not good. And you know how men like to show off their wives. Even if they're not showing off, they know that people are going to be looking at their wife, people are going to be looking at their girlfriend, and they want someone to say, oh, your girlfriend's pretty, oh, your wife is pretty, or she's, how did you end up with her? That's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear, your girlfriend's looking kind of homely, or your wife is looking kind of, they don't want to hear that. And even if no one's going to say that to them, you also don't want people behind your back saying that. So moving forward, we have to take this seriously, but also moving forward, it's important to find a man who does two things. One, he values how you look. He values your natural look. Like, what do I look like when the makeup is washed off and I just have like lotion on my face, chapstick on? My natural look. Not sloppy, but my basic look. Because that's real life, and you're going to see that. If you're going to be married to me or any woman for 30, 50 years till death do us part, you're going to see her natural look. And he's going to see your natural look. And you want to find a man who thinks you're pretty without makeup. You want to find a man who thinks you're pretty without fake eyelashes, without contouring your nose into oblivion, without you dressed like you belong on the cover of a magazine. You need to find that man so that he thinks you're pretty with makeup on, he thinks you're pretty with makeup off, and you don't feel like, oh, I have to always be, on my A game with my makeup and my fake eyelashes and all this stuff. He needs to like your hair, your color, your texture, your skin color, your eye color. He needs to like what you look like. He needs to like what you look like, so you don't have to change for him. You don't have to put on this fake thing for him. Otherwise he'll leave. If you want somebody that's blonde, go get somebody that's blonde. If you want somebody that's light skin, dark skin, if you want whatever, go be with who you want to be with. But don't be with, okay, now I'm not even talking to the women anymore. Don't be with somebody that you're not attracted to, and then be cheating with somebody else. Like, don't do that. Be with who you're going to be with. And women, don't let men do that to you. So find a man who likes your natural look so that he appreciates you when you're dressed up and when you're dressed down. He's not going to appreciate if you're dressed down all the time, or if you're like sloppy. That's not going to be appreciated. It's not going to be appreciated if you're dating someone and then you gain, 200 pounds. That's not going to be appreciated. So, like I said, there's a balance. But find someone who likes how you naturally look. And the second piece is, and I know that this is hard in this country, but you have to find someone who values modesty. You have to find someone who values what you're doing. And I feel like in this country, modesty is not all that valued in our society. I mean, I feel like even Christian guys might say, oh, I can't find a good woman. I can't find a woman who's modest. But where do their eyes go? Are they looking for the most modestly dressed woman? in the church? Are they looking for the women who no, they're not looking for the women who are dressed the most modest, the most I don't know, it's almost like when you really take following God seriously and you really try to focus on, dressing modestly, are the Christian men running? Are they flocking to those women? This is the culture we live in, and it affects the men in the church too. That's why you have to try to figure out, like, okay, how can I dress in a way that's cute and modest but not frumpy? Like, you really have to find that place in between. Now, if you look at Amish communities, if you look at Muslim communities, if you look at Mormon communities, there's certain communities within the United States, and there's some like very other ultra conservative Christian communities in the country where the women can get away with dressing very, very modestly. They can get away with wearing these dresses that look like they're homemade dresses from the 80s in these patterns that are just outdated. They can do their hair. I mean, you can tell that they're putting effort into their looks. I'm not saying that they're sloppy. They're putting effort into their looks to look cute, but it's a very outdated look. But their community values that. And so those women get married, and those women have faithful husbands. And maybe even the husbands, they don't even dress all that well. Like, have you seen these people? Have you seen these communities where they value that? And so those women don't have a problem finding a man. Or they have less of a problem because their community is not speaking out of both sides of their mouth. Their community is not telling the women, dress modestly, right? But the men are dating non-Christian women who are not dressing modestly because their eyes are going for what they want. Like, the community of both men and women, they've agreed on these values and they're supporting these values. And so when the women dress modestly, the men don't, the men respond well to that. And they date those women who are dressed the way their community is telling them to dress, right? You don't have a situation where Amish women are covering their hair and dressing like it's the 1800s, and the Amish men are like, why don't, these women need to dress modestly, they need to cover their hair, they need to do this. And then when the women do it, they're like, oh, I'm not attracted to these women, they look so matronly and they look so frumpy, let me go date someone that's not Amish who's dressed cuter, right? They don't do that. They don't do that. They say dress modestly. They say this is what we want. And then they date I don't know what they date. I don't know that they date in Amish communities. But then they marry those people. So as a Christian woman, you have to find a man who is going to value your commitment to dressing modestly. But you also have to make sure that, because I'm speaking to who I think is women that are not in these super ultra conservative communities. We're in more mainstream communities, because that's where we are, and we are dealing with men who may not be, they may be saying they want one thing, but then their eyes are going elsewhere. You do have to be mindful that that's the situation we're in, and it's the reality. And what are you going to do with that reality? Are you going to double down on the matronly clothing that's vintage and from the 50s that doesn't really look cute on us? Are you going to do that and say looks don't matter? It's not going to help you as a single woman. It's not going to help you as a married woman. That's not going to help you. If you have a man who values that, if you have a man who's like, no, you look good in that, I like it, I love it. If your man is like, no, you look good in these vintage clothes, I love it, you look cute, you look sexy, I love it, then keep doing that. Keep doing that, okay? But if that's not the situation you're in, I'm just telling you, like, there's the Bible, and then there's like street rules, okay? There's like this is the culture we're in, understand it, and figure out a way to make it work. And dressing like you're in the 50s and doing your hair like it's the 50s, our culture is going to penalize us for that. That we're going to be avoided for that. And when I say our culture, I'm including the Christian men. We do have to appeal. We do have to be appealing if we want to be in a relationship. Okay? So that's basically what I'm saying. Yeah, so I wanted to speak to that. Looks matter to a certain extent, but being cute all the time is not going to keep your man from cheating. So find a man with good character. Find a man who values what you value, who values modesty, but don't take the modesty so far that you become considered unattractive to all men, or, you know, the Christian men in the community. You know, it's a lot of gymnastics trying to find that happy space in the middle, but that is what we have to do if we don't want to be single forever, or if we don't want to have a hard conversation with our man, with him saying, you know, can you dress up? You know, you used to dress up, you used to look cute, and now, you know, you're not. So I wanted to speak to that. And that's really all I have to say on that situation. Feel free to let me know your thoughts. It's Easter, so I hope you guys have a happy Easter. Or at least it's Easter when I'm recording this. I don't know if it'll be Easter when I'm posting it, but I hope you guys have a happy Easter, and a happy spring. I wish you guys well, and I hope that what I'm saying resonates with somebody and is beneficial to somebody. All right, take care. Have a great day.